welcome everybody to our July meeting. I noticed that we're all here, so we haven't got any apologies, unless there's any staff that are not coming. No. In that case, we'll open the floor up for public forum, and I'll let you guys fight amongst yourselves. Who wants to come first and have a seat in the chair? And
so we'd be generous with seniority.
yeah.
Age.
Be interesting the next one then.
Precisely why I said
Welcome, Gilbert.
Yeah, thank you. I wanted to come and talk to you personally because the community board is an important part of the Peter Street development and what it was going to do for the town. We had great support, and especially from Tony Barilovich. It was a long process that I started as a whole harbour project with Glenn Leach. And I just passed it round if you've forgotten what it was about. When the ferry, trailer boats, wharf all needed upgrading, they should be considered along with the Sugarloaf, which would be the commercial outlet, which really only needed an upgrade because we older farmers always thought there'd be a wharf grown at Kopu. And of course, this project had a commercial wharf of 60 metres all tied as part of it as well. And that was the plan. And so I'm just describing it for you that didn't really see it pass them on. And it had a 215 boat dry stack to help pay for it, and 60 odd or up to 20 units. So if you counted the cost of the units, it would have been a $65 million project or a $45 million project all up. And Furies Creek's a public waterway, and we needed $15 million to dredge it out 100,000 cubes and put on the continental shelf. Couldn't afford to take the risk of not being able to put it as fill on the foreshore. From originally the projects, none of the projects, including a wharf at Kopu, were not meant to be in competition. They were complementary, obviously. And when the TCDC advertised for expressions of interest on the Furies Creek, because they had brought it in on a $300,000 project or something, the planning of it, and it seemed to be the answer for Coromandel. And I had 7 acres on the south side of Furies Creek that I'd been playing with or I'd bought from the previous project with the idea of one day making a complex there. And there was never a better opportunity, of course, than as PGF funding came along. I'm coming here to say that I've withdrawn from it. Originally, it was turned down quite quickly and quite flippantly by the PDU. On the phone, they said they didn't think it would get a consent, which of course was no part of the reason for not giving the money. There were milestones along the way, and if it didn't get a consent, of course, it wouldn't have qualified for the money. But the fact that it was turned down at the start, there was no need to, of course, apply for a consent. The project we'd put forward was dependent on initially 25 million, and we were asked to reduce it to 20. And that was 10 and 10. Rob spoke with Sir Powers to be, and it sounded fairly reasonable at that stage. And then it was turned down, and I spoke second-hand to the politicians, Shane Jones and Winston Peters, Fletcher Tapatoe, Clayton Mitchell, and they said, oh no, the money's still there. Absolutely, we think it's a great scheme, and this is what we need to do. This is what you need to do to apply. And I think it's important, there's a couple, the letters involved, which way shall we go that way? The declining of the money the further talk of if he can crank up some money. But I had actually spent 2 hard years of enthusiasm and a lot of work, and we'd spent $400,000. $93,000 was PGF grant as part of that application for the funding. And these are the 2 books that we came out with for the 400,000, but they're very comprehensive and very well done. There's a business case and a feasibility study. And in the end, the project is very, very good, stacks up. But next year I'll be 80, and it's still going to take years to take it on. I've run out of cash, just cash flow for the project. I have to sort of start again, and so I'm just simply walking away from the project as such. I've been months thinking about whether a smaller scheme could be applied, and Rob Alexander, who's the consulting engineer, very, very good. He's keen, and he's done different drawings of different sizes, and it's very hard to make the cash flow work on them. Some schemes need, if you start with dredging the creek, you've got to have a certain infrastructure to follow to make it pay. And I had that trouble with the PDU, where they said, oh, can't you have a half-tide ferry? Well, we've got better than that now, even if it's out of town. And so we were starting from a negative point. And I talked with the engineers, what could we do to make it lesser? And actually, it's one of those projects that didn't work lesser. So I spoke with Rob. He seemed he was apologetic at the time, because I think he knew the answer, of course. And he wrote a nice letter about 3 weeks later to say that the council had no money. It was a good scheme, but had no money. And he suggested a figure of $1 million. So I'm annoyed about it, and I'm frustrated about it, because $1 million might have got a $45 million scheme, pretty good to answer all the questions of the harbour facilities, ferry charter boats and commercial wharf, ferry, etc. So, any questions?
Yes, I do. Hello, Gilbert. One of the initial ideas with Glenn, when it was first put forward, was that it would be a sort of public-private scheme to get the ferry into, basically the ferry into town is what we wanted back in the early days. And with what you're proposing, it has taken it away from being sort of... No, I applied for expressions of interest advertised by the TCDC, and while they didn't call it that, they did at times. I don't think it was ever written public-private, Right.
But we certainly talked the word public-private. So I was working, or I thought I was working absolutely with council, and council were a joint applicant in this. Right, yeah. Council was always going to have, or the creek's always going to be a public waterway. It wasn't going to be part of this program at all, yes. Except the money, the basin, etc., was going to have to dig it out. No, I saw it, we call it joint instead. It's a good project with TCDC. Mm-hmm.
And with your project now, I mean, I'm gutted that it's not going through, because for our town, it's an absolute pity that it's not. But is it economical for you if it was downsized to take away to make it more sort of viable? Like, I don't know, maybe to pre-sell the apartments or something like that. I don't know.
I think that's why I said I'll be 80 next year.
Yeah.
And to go through due process, it's virtually starting again on another project. I spoke with Clayton Mitchell just the other day, the MP, and he said, the money's still there, Gilbert, and it's still a brilliant scheme. And I'd say, look, I've actually run out of energy. So it's a matter of whether I sell a property, Peter Street Development sells its property, or whether I just hang around with it and see what prevails. I mean, forming Peter Street with Phil for a start or something, and then a boat and boating facility is much better on the south side of the creek. We've got drawings to show that. I mean, where the playground is now, they all have to come around that bank corner, around the roundabout. And I can see with a good ramp there, the boats would be waiting to come out of the ramp, and they'd be nose to tail all the way up, waiting to get round the roundabout. And so it's quite handicapped, whereas a really well used and good boat ramp would be on the south side. But I don't know whether it generates enough money to, this is the same thing. As soon as the ferry project is dropped, the creek doesn't have to be dug out near as much, probably half as much, for instance. Or the less you do, the less it needs to be dug out. It wasn't just you, it was the town, the business people showed great enthusiasm, and outsiders from around the Waika, the boating people that come here showed tremendous enthusiasm for it. And to tell you the truth, it never occurred to me that it might fail.
You know, it's disappointing to hear that that's sort of the end of the road for you, Gilbert, because I think it was a good thing for the town too. Is it just, I totally agree with what Rob said. I couldn't allow ratepayers' money to be risked in this, especially in the current financial situation. But why have, if it's a super good scheme, which we believe it is, why haven't other private people joined up with you, taken on partners or whatever, to make this thing actually work rather than the public?
Well, anyone with any brains and business skills or really business experience, and the chap Townsend with about 50,000 cows, he was involved with the previous one, and I went to him and he thought it was absolutely great, and he said, come back when you get the money, when you get the... And so most people with business now want to come in on the next step. And this is where the risk comes in, and we went to council and said that you've set aside 720,000, and I think it was stepped up to 1.1 million on upgrading the ramp that's there. We said, give us that money and look for the money after, and this may be enough to make it go. But I think Rob said it's not actually money; it's just a number. The other disappointment for me was that not that long after, I think $300,000 has gone to the car park for the mountain biking in Harrogate Road.
That's been a long-term project.
This has been 23 years.
Yeah, we were committed to that. It might not have been the way it was going to go if it was presented today, that bike park, but that was well and truly committed.
I understand that too. I'm just having a bit of a brizzle.
Yeah, no, that's fine. Yeah. And hey, listen, everybody around this table would agree it's a disappointment that it's not happening. But, yeah. And the Provincial Growth Fund would have been awesome.
I'm disappointed in the Growth Fund. I'm disappointed in the legislation that wrote it. The legislation says that it must show iwi to be get some gain out of it. And in some projects, like in this one, it really wasn't necessarily iwi, but a kitty are or will get title to the reserve on the north side.
Yep.
And they were all for it. Well, I shouldn't say that. They were for it. And it would have opened up there for car parking and whatnot and the ramp. And I thought that would have been good enough. And maybe if I brought my very good friend Harry Mackay in and said, what about Hurricane Maori Trust Board? They might have been able to find $10 million.
Oh, they would have. No problem.
Or 20 million.
Yeah.
And that doesn't please me either.
at all.
Mm.
So I think it was bad legislation. There'd be quite a few schemes that should have qualified that possibly wouldn't. One of the hold-ups in the last 20 years has been under the Macquarie Act. Any reclamations do have to go to iwi, and anything further out that wasn't private land is dependent on that reclaimed land to be part of the profits of the project. And if it's handed over to iwi, then people just walk away from it, and that's the situation.
Okay,
For your time.
any other questions? Well, thank you, Gilbert. Sorry we couldn't get over the line this time either.
No, that's
Come on up
that's
then.
fine. Morning, Glenn.
Morning.
Morning, Glenn.
I'm Glenn Beattie from Albert Street. I want to talk about the bridge in Albert Street, which has been an ongoing situation for a long time. There's two things I want to talk about. One is the fact that 2005, we were all made aware that the fire engine couldn't go over the bridge. So John wrote a letter to the council and to the residents of Coromandel, to residents of Albert Street. I've got a copy of the letter here. That was in June 2005. We got a reply. I came down to the community board meeting in October 2005 and spoke about it then. It was 15 years ago. And I got a reply to say that the funding was going to be made available and the work would be taken out in 2006 and 2007. Nothing's ever happened. And we all kind of just put it on a bit of a back burner, something will happen one day. And then when Sandy White died and the fire brigade went up to that, they couldn't go over the bridge. So it kind of reared its head again. And, is the council waiting for a house to burn down up there or for someone to die in a house fire or something before anything happens? So that's the first main issue, so I'd like to bring that up. But the other one is that at the beginning of last year, this big hole erupted on the approaches to the bridge. It's about 1 metre by 1 metre by about 1,200, 1,300 deep. And so I made a special request to get it fixed. It sat there, they put a bit of netting around and it sat there for a while. I thought, they're going to fix it. It happened when they were scraping the kaku off the edge of the road and it all just caved away. It's right as you drive onto the bridge. It's sort of reduced the width of the bridge by about 1 metre. And it's already a one-way bridge. So I came and made a request for services to have something done about it. And I got a ring from Pinnacles to say, we're monitoring it and we're waiting for funding. That was June last year. Then over Christmas, someone drove into the bit of netting and it fell into the hole. And so I came in again and it sat there for more than a week because I go over it 3 or 4 times a day. So I'm pretty close on it. Got another call back saying, we've reinstated it. Once again, we're working on it. Now this is 15 months. There's been this huge hole on the bridge. And I'm thinking, maybe they're going to replace the bridge. So, they'll do it then, but I haven't heard any word about that. So, I'm not getting anywhere. The bridge has been 15 years. The hole's been a year and 3 or 4 months. I get these phone calls from Pinnacle saying, I checked the request for services at the office yesterday and the reply was, we put up a safety fence. Well, they haven't. They got 2 or 3 waratahs with a bit of that red plastic netting. That's not a safety fence, if you ask me. And a road cone, which every now and again some hoon throws it down into the hole and put another one in. It's really
Well, I can tell you that.
pretty frustrating, really. That's why I'm here now.
I can tell you that it's in the 2021 to 23 LTP, long-term plan, to happen as a priority 1, which is scheduled to be in years 1 to 3. So the community board have put their proposal into the council for what they'd like to see in the LTP, and now that's where it's sitting.
Oh, yes.
So, and that's to remove the weight restriction on the bridge. So that would mean another bridge.
Right,
So the wheels turn pretty slowly.
yeah.
And this is obviously quite important. There's 8 properties up there.
There are 8 houses.
Yeah. So we are aware of it, and the wheels are turning, but
Right,
I couldn't tell you when.
okay. What about the hole? That'd be good to get that fixed.
I'd imagine they did that at the same time, wouldn't they?
I don't know, Bruce is here, he may have some knowledge on the whole.
So through the chair, I don't have any knowledge on the whole, unfortunately, but I'm testing now to try and find that.
Yeah, just have a drive up there and have a look at it, and just bear in mind that it's been like that for over a year.
It is quite dangerous.
Yeah, oh, it's crazy.
Yeah, I totally agree, Bruce will have a look at that.
Yeah. Is there any way in the meantime that we can have the bridge propped, because they have propped it on occasion, and I talked to the council about, because I was going to log my pines, and I was going to have to take some trucks over the bridge, because we can't take any trucks over. You can't take a truck with a load of metal over it. You can't take the concrete truck. The rubbish truck are using it as an excuse not to go over it. There's a whole raft of other issues as well as the fire brigade. But they have propped it to maintain the road at one stage, or when they sealed it, and also when they took a house over, they propped it.
Yeah.
So is there any possibility of getting some temporary, because our insurance companies are probably going to have to know about this, that fire brigade can't come to our house if it catches fire. Yeah. Well, they can, but not with a fire engine.
I don't know about propping, but we'll have to ask some questions.
Yeah. It can be done, I know, but whether it can be done on a semi-permanent.
Yeah.
So you reckon next year or the year after sort of thing?
It's on the 21 to 23 LTP is all I can say. Well, it's proposed to go onto that. Whether that actually goes through council or not, Mr. Morrissey, I'm not too sure.
I'll support it.
Yeah.
But there's an interim, what happens between now and then, it's too dangerous.
Yeah, it could be a couple of years before, at least by the sound of it.
So if we could just wait for Bruce to have a look, check with his staff, Glenn, we will definitely get back to you as to what.
That's Bruce from.
You've got Bruce
is
our group manager for infrastructure, so you've got the right ears.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So we will get back to you.
You've got good ears in the room today.
Yeah.
You got.
Yeah, I got your number, and I will definitely get in
Cheers.
contact.
Thank you.
All right. Thanks again.
See you, Glenn.
Glenn.
Yeah, just further from that for Glenn, I don't know when I've last come in here. I think it might have been just before Christmas. I was trying to find that minutes out here. And I guess the disappointing part is there's no actual feedback to say, what we're doing. I think, when I look at it, Glenn's taken a lot more time on it than I have. It is of concern, and I think we're being generous to the council to keep it out of the public arena, because it is vital. Those people pay taxes, rates, and when you go back through the correspondence and you see it was programmed under Alex Finn back in 2006, 2007, why did it drop off the radar then? Was it ever notified that it had been taken off? I know it was discussed at community board when I was on it several times, and all of a sudden it's gone. It disappears because nobody's actually complaining. But 15 years is an excessive time to actually, for those people up there to wait, it exposes everybody that's involved in those properties up there. So, after this meeting, if there's any information from Bruce, to go forward. But, waiting another 4 years, then you've got to program it in. I don't think that's acceptable. Really, why did it get dropped off back in 2006, 2007?
I know you were there.
I know, but that is a district council level job. Don't,
Just saying, John, it's been there for a long time.
Yep, it has, and we're going to pursue it,
Good.
So, insurance companies if those people are paying their insurance and all of a sudden there's a house fire up there and they come up to investigate it, they're going to say you filled out a false claim. Yeah, and you've been paying money for nothing, because I'm pretty sure that's what the case would be.
Well, we'll do some further investigation and we'll look forward to.
So just looking at the agenda over there, I see on the order paper today there's a thing on community relief for emergency services. On my cell phone, I got a debtor's letter from Tony Sims from council, maybe 2 or 3 months ago, Coromandel Emergency Services land down on the corner of Tiki Road, Wangpa Road. It's an issue that I had with the previous property manager, and I see some letters from Claire Foster. Some of you might remember her. And who was the other one that left last year? But the argument is their Coromandel Emergency Services was set up back in 2000, and we set a term of 33-year lease at $1 per year, and we paid in advance. Tom Whittle and Don Hughes were very astute, and we paid $33 to save the paperwork. And the present invoice is referring to an increase from $1 a year to 100 plus the GST, which but we've got a meeting on Wednesday night, the emergency services, but I see there's an application to actually take that $100 or grant it under a community board grant. Is that going to be confirmed? Can that letter come back to us?
Do you mean whether or not the board confirms they wish to give that rent relief? Yes, certainly we can let you know. Do you have a comment about that you wish to guide the board on? Or?
We discussed it last year at our AGM, and we believe that we paid up front $33 for the benefit of the community. I know in the lease agreement there was letters that had been transferred to Elizabeth Whittle. Now, anybody that knew Elizabeth, she was a JP and she was very astute, and I don't believe she ever got that letter. It was never tabled at an AGM, which we're committed to having each year as an incorporated society. That letter was never submitted, and Tom, I never raised the issue with Tom because he would have been horrified because Elizabeth had passed away at that stage. I guess it's just a matter of
we'll have to look at that a little bit closer. I was at that meeting too, and it was $1 a year, and it was for that length of time.
Yes.
So you have met with council, emergency services have met with council's property staff?
Discussions over the years, yes. We're not the only ones in that lease agreement that have had problems. Eric House was another one. I think quite a few of them, and it was a slip up on council's part. But leave that aside. I'm dealing with Coromandel Emergency Services, but it's not a one-off property that's in this boat. We're very grateful for the land down there. It's a great piece of land for to benefit our community, and that's one thing.
So do you think that'd be a worthwhile use of money, John, to make those grants? I mean, I read through them. They're usually entities that have other funding sources, and we have limited money to grant.
Yep.
And that grant money, when we do grant it to various organisations, can mean a lot to them. If we were to give you rent relief or anybody else rent relief, obviously that lessens our ability to grant money to others. Do you think that's a good idea, using the money for rent relief?
You
do.
Yeah.
At the cost.
Well, any voluntary organisation needs supporting.
Fine.
But it was only the fact that I read that agenda that was in there. We aren't aware of it, but we have a meeting tomorrow night, and I can raise it. But it would be nice to be kept informed of it, because according to our records, Don Hughes is very astute and he's got a good memory. We have paid up front, so I don't believe that $100 is warranted for that at the moment.
I know you did.
Okay, I think you've answered that question for us, John.
Okay.
All right, any other questions for John?
Just Bruce, while you're here, I got a ring from Viola this morning. Our water supply is a boil notice. Yeah. The treatment plant, when's that up? Yeah.
So through the chair, the treatment plant is, the designs being done for the new treatment plant, and they're actually starting on that now.
Yeah.
So it's been done this financial year.
And just while, I observed down there, how much surplus capacity have we got in the overflow point of the sewage ponds at the moment? Because when we get some more heavy rain, that relief pond down there is going to overflow as well.
Yeah, I couldn't tell you on top of my head how much capacity is left on the treatment plant. I opened it up this morning, so.
Because, it obviously points to a hell of an inflow into the sewage scheme, during heavy rainfall.
Yeah, been quite a lot of rain over the last few days, so.
Thanks, John.
Thank you.
Thanks, John. Thank you.
Just got a quick question for John, unrelated. John, one thing,
Please.
See you guys.
See ya.
very good. So, we just need a mover and seconder to receive the report. Thank you, Kim. Let's have a seconder.
Yep, done.
John, all those in favour, please say aye.
Aye.
Yes, okay, thank you. Okay, next item being items not on the agenda. I'm not aware of any. Is anybody else aware of any? There being none, we go on to conflict of interest. Anybody got a conflict of interest to declare?
No.
I don't think there's anything controversial there. So there being none, we will move on to the previous minutes for confirmation from resolution that the Coromandel-Colville Community Board confirmed the minutes of the Coromandel-Colville Community Board meeting held on 26th of May 2020.
I'll move that.
Thank you, Jan. Do we have a seconder?
Yeah.
Thank you. All those in favour, please say aye.
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 That's carried. Thank you very much. Next item being community management. Item 2.1, Margaret, this is one of yours. Would you like to discuss that? Or... So this was in the...
So this came out of the business meeting that was held in June, and that, well, I'll take it as the report has been read. And basically they have approached the board to ask that if the business community can't get together their share, would they guarantee any shortfall of their share?
To a limit of.
To a maximum of the $2,000.
Yeah. I'll move that.
Pamela, they didn't get the amount of people that they wanted, but they're still going to go ahead.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's worthwhile. I'd move it.
Absolutely it is. I think it's essential.
So,
Does anybody disagree?
no, Jean's happy. Everybody's happy.
Yeah. Yeah, last I heard, Pamela had 11 people.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's great.
look.
11 businesses, so that, yeah,
Better
that
than-
let's cover their
Yeah. Yeah.
share. Sorry, John's moving.
And I'll second.
Your second, Jan, thank you. All those in favour, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye, against, carried, thank you. Okay, item 2.2, further submissions, Coromandel-Colville community plans. So this is
There was something attached, Nicole, but I didn't get the attachment. Number 2, approves the final draft Coromandel-Colville
Yeah.
community plan.
We didn't bother to put it in because not one thing has changed from the one you received last
Okay.
time, Jen.
Yep.
And it would have only possibly changed if we had received any further submissions. We
Yep.
received none.
No.
And all people that participated in it were contacted.
Good, okay, that's fine.
So if there's no further submissions, we can ignore item 1 of the resolution and just go straight to item 2, which is recommend to council to adopt the Coromandel-Colville community plan. So do we have a mover and a seconder for that?
Yep, I'll move.
Thank you. Any second?
I'll second.
Thank you. Those in favour, please say aye.
Aye.
Against, carried. Thank you. Number 3, this has been touched on earlier this morning, in finance, rent relief for community groups. So this is also in the agenda there.
Yes, and I presume Bruce has come to the table as he will be representing it for Donna.
Correct.
Okay. Okay, I have a question.
Yes.
Here.
Please, yep, let's have a general talk first.
Does this mean that, that with the amount of monies here, does this mean this sort of like equates to 1 week's rent? Is that what it equates to?
No,
No,
when
annual.
1 year, okay. The other thing that I want to say is that some of these groups get funding anyway, like they continue to get funding through ongoing, like which is St John's and Fens and youth group, who's part of the Hauraki House, and I'm just wondering if perhaps why would they? I mean, it's quite a lot of money. 16. I know it's not, but we have a really small budget that has to go a very long way.
Yep, so through the chair, I'll just give you a quick run through. So this has been to all the boards, and different boards have approached it differently. Some boards, I think one board has gone with it, and other boards have decided not to go with it. And their thinking is, that, I guess, along the same lines as what you're saying, Jan, is there's other sources of income. Do you want to use the ratepayers to subsidise the rent on these when they're getting money from other areas? And it's a relatively small amount of money, but it still is an amount of money. So it's really trying to make that decision on whether you think it is something you want to do for those groups, or whether you think no, it's actually leave them to stand on their own feet, and rather than subsidising them on the ratepayers, because obviously our ratepayers, a lot of our ratepayers are hurting as well, So so again, we don't, I guess, different boards have thought of it differently. They don't want to just put more onto the ratepayers in this time that when people are struggling. So yeah.
What you just said, Jan, is what I was trying to lead John Walker into before, about it's a small amount of money. It does a lot of good for people or organisations we decide to dispense it to. And these organisations do have their own funding sources and revenue, and it would take it away from us using it for other non-funded organisations of the community. So that was my concern. I mean, I think it's worthwhile in itself, but if you look at the small amount of money we've got to play with, that's a substantial chunk of it. The other one is, if you decide to go with it, the Colville Voluntary Rural Fire Force, $100. I don't think they even exist anymore, Bruce. So I don't.
Yes, they do.
Colville does.
Most definitely do.
Colville, of course, it's Papa Araha. Yeah, that's right, it is too. Sorry, got that one wrong. So those are my thoughts too. I'm actually aligning with you. Is it the best?
I mean, I
is it the
don't know
best
what
we
the
can do?
Colville funding is, but I presume it's the same as Fens here. It'll be exactly the same, and which they do get that funding. It doesn't stop just because there was COVID-19.
Yep.
Whatever.
I wouldn't die in the trenches over it, but I think we could use the money for better purposes.
Well,
That's why I was looking
I
at
was
you.
actually looking at you and Jean.
Yeah.
I suppose if you just sit there quietly and say nothing and let the rest of the board make those decisions, we'll be right, and we'll just make a note.
I hadn't even thought of that,
Yeah.
Okay.
Where do we stand with the emergency services in terms of John Walker's point this morning about 33 years prepaid?
He is absolutely, I was at those initial meetings with that group, and he is right on the button. That's exactly what it was. I don't know where you dig that documentation up from now after all this time, but it was $1 a year.
Oh, he's got it all
33
done
years.
already.
And I think we'll probably stuck with that despite any council policies or things.
I don't
How do we
know.
get around
No
it?
answer to
Yeah,
that.
not wanting to speak on behalf of Don's team, property team, but if John's got the documentation, it seems pretty straightforward, it seems pretty clear, but yeah, let's get that stuff and have a look and take it back through John Muston, who looks after property.
Yeah,
And try and get that corrected if there's an error in there.
these things get lost in the midst of time, mate, but he is right.
It will be.
I was part of that process.
I guess it's a principal thing for them, is that
Yeah.
they at least set $1 a year, they paid in advance,
Yes.
and now our charges have changed, so, and we all have experienced John's principles, so.
Yes, we have. Yes, we have.
So,
But he didn't table anything.
No, and he was talking about not being able to find the letter or because Elizabeth Whittle had passed away and
So I guess in good faith, we could ask John Mussel's team to see if they can look
That
at
they
that.
can find it.
nice.
There will be a
yeah, I
comment.
actually thought that they had met, but that's what I was trying
Yeah.
to get from John, I thought that they had met with property.
Back through.
okay. Anyway, that takes us back to what are we going to do with this, Jen? It's down to you and me by the sound of it.
Yes, well, no, the other thing that I thought of was,
Go on, Peter.
like, so 74 Kapanga Road is the information centre, which, of course, it's Kilt who are responsible for that, as well as they are for the other buildings. Yes, they do get funding, but things like the information centre didn't get funding over there, so but they still paid their rent to Kilt. It's kind of like, if there was, I mean, it's really hard, I guess, because it's the information centre that needs the relief, not Kilt, as it were.
All in or all out, Jen?
But yeah, that's right. I guess that's how it is. It's, yeah, at the end of the day, they do all get other funding.
I agree.
Yeah.
So, what are we going to do? Peter, what do you think? Oh, you.
Well, I am on the St John's committee, so I'm going to sit quietly in the corner too, so I'll pass this resolution.
All right, it's the lack of a quorum, we can't deal with this anyway. You just knocked out the whole.
Should we pass this back to council to decide?
Why would you do that? Why would you do that?
Well, maybe we can pass it back with recommendations if we can't make a ruling
Yeah,
on
well,
it.
this is the thoughts,
That we pass it back
But we
with
can't.
recommendations.
but can we do that?
Are we allowed to do that?
You can
Are
make
we
the
still on the rent relief one?
Yes,
Okay.
so what our issue is that 3 of the board members have key positions in some of those groups.
Yeah, okay.
So it is a conflict for them.
Yeah.
And they're raising it.
Yes, which is correct, yeah.
So really, the next avenue is that it would be a council decision
Yeah.
on whether or not this.
Is it, so there's a quorum issue, like?
Yes, it
Yeah.
is. We've only got 2 that aren't.
It came from council in the first place, Martin Rodley, so yeah, can we flip it back
With a recommendation.
with our thoughts?
Well, if you can't get a quorum,
Can you make
Can't
a
make it.
recommendation? Okay.
However, if it goes to council, John understands we've
yeah,
put the
I'm
board.
just trying to think, and I'm not an expert on the procedural matters, but is there another option of you just leave it live?
Well, why don't we leave it and we'll move on through the agenda and we'll make some inquiries through Stephen and
Yeah.
then perhaps
Yeah.
leave it, we'll have to.
Yeah, but I certainly probably got bigger fish.
Can we ask what the other boards ended up with?
I can tell you, so Tara Palmer have gone with it, there's gone with the rates, the rent relief, and the others haven't, none of the others haven't. It's not till tomorrow, so.
Okay.
Basically, it will lapse due to a lack of water.
Is there a matter?
And if it lapses, will it still go ahead?
We will seek further advice from the governance manager.
Never struck that before.
No.
You two people are too involved in the community.
Sure.
It happens. Such a happy place, why wouldn't we want? Okay, so we'll move on to the next item then, which is number 4, reports, Coromandel-Colville Community Body Work Programme.
which I will take as read and really as your wrap-up report for the previous financial year. So come next for then we'll have all your new projects and whatnot on this.
Yep.
So if you've got any
I
questions.
do have a question. The Sugarloaf renewals, is this still in? And will still be in given the new PGF funding?
Yes, because we'll still have work that has to continue. up there.
Okay, so it's maintenance.
There will still,
Yep,
yes.
okay,
yes, exactly.
yeah, okay, yeah. We have any idea of when they would be, when it's going to start their new?
I cannot answer that question, I'm sorry, Jane, I'm not privy to that.
No, okay.
It's supposed to be shovel ready,
Yes, I know.
so I would imagine by the end of the year.
I've got a shovel.
You got a shovel?
And you're ready, yep.
The latest I heard on it was December, but I haven't heard anything, I'm not close to it.
Really?
Through the chair.
There we go. All is here.
Hi. They are anticipating that construction will start before the end of the year.
Right.
Very good.
Yeah. Depending on a few things.
Yes, consenting and the like.
That's the plan.
Yeah, that's good.
That's exciting, yeah.
So associated projects such as the Tikuma intersection?
So the Tacoma intersection, we're busy doing stuff at the moment, as per the notes in the document around land and investigations and design and all that stuff. So that's all happening this year, with the construction then to happen the following year. So the first year of the LTP with construction, that's where it's scheduled at the moment.
It's going to be amazing.
I have one other question. The Hodaki House car park land purchase. The mayor was investigating.
Yes, and she certainly made a contact and our property staff have certainly followed that up, and it's just continuing down the same path. The ball's in Ministry's court and we're just waiting for that to happen.
Okay.
But our property staff are constantly contacting them.
Okay. So, okay, so because we were told that it was not going to be a goer, but obviously
What's not going to be a goer is just a straight land swap. There will be a cost.
Yeah.
Council will have to purchase the land. Yeah. So that's the bit that's getting sorted at the moment.
Okay.
Did we get a carryover for the barbecue facility at Harrity House?
Yes, that's all done. That arrives, hopefully, fingers crossed, the 13th of August to be put up. So,
Ready for summer.
ready for the Coromandel 200 Loom Festival, hopefully. So that's what our deadline is, to get it finished for that. No pressure. Yeah.
Okay.
And the Lions Club did provide their $10,000 towards that project, by the way.
Excellent.
Good job.
Very good.
So we'll hear back at the next meeting about what's been locked in.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Any other questions on the work program?
Oh.
All right, so the resolution is that we received the work program and other information report dated 16th of June 2020. Have a mover and seconder.
I'll move.
Thank you, Ian.
I'll second.
Thank you. All those in favour, please say aye.
Aye.
That's carried. Thank you very much. Item 4.2, motoring along today. Members' reports. Just go around the table, I suppose. John?
Okay, it's been a little bit busy at council. We've had a lot of meetings and workshops and what have you. I went to a local government New Zealand meeting with the mayor last Monday. And that was quite interesting to see what's happening in local government and what the challenges are regarding water, wastewater and that sort of thing. You guys all aware I got a directorship on the Sugarloaf, the new Sugarloaf development. Yeah, no, I'm one of the directors on there, so that's great. It's a non-paying job, but carries all the liabilities of being a director, so it's great. So, yeah, I'm really keen and heavily involved in that. We had our first directors meeting last week. There are 4 directors and an independent chair. The other director with me is Sandra Gowdy, and 2 members of the Marine Farmers Association. One of them is Jake Bartram, and then gentleman from Raglan. So, we're steaming ahead and we are hopeful that it will be underway this year. But we need to get through some consenting process and things. So that's quite busy, but I'm looking forward to being involved in that.
Will the wall still be usable?
Yes, I believe, yes, right through the whole thing, it has to be. Yeah. So that's me.
Yay, I got something.
Yes, Jane.
So I've been talking with the parents of the youth group and looking at revamping the youth group house, and the ITM have come to the party and said they will pay for everything, but not the labour, so we're looking for volunteers to come in and do that. They will also would be really enthused in having a trolley derby, and they will pay for everyone who needs stuff to build a trolley. So that's,
Wow.
and that also will come with the owner who used to own it.
Larry Knudsen.
Into it also.
Cool.
So we've had a discussion and with the parents, and the other thing that we were looking at is that we find that the footpath that's over by the bridge there, and it goes down and around, the kids get so much fun out of it.
Yes.
And so we were wondering if there's a possibility of extending that footpath for the little ones to go on their skates or their little scooters. And
actually, you are right, Jean. They have a ball on
they
there.
do.
My grandkids
Yes, they
just
do.
love it.
Okay,
Yeah.
but it is a footpath. That sounds
Gee, it does. We just have to have
the corporate line.
we'd actually have to have something separate because our Grinch friend here is actually
I'm
here.
not a cringe.
But you know, the kids do.
We could just put a sign up, you know, like.
Beware of
That's
kids.
it. They like to have cows crossing the road.
Yeah.
No, Bubbles is right. Actually, that's the.
If we put a sign up, it implies that we are condoning it. At the moment, we're not anything in it.
No, it's only you
not.
that's not condoning it.
But Jean, that is right. Maybe that's something that could be developed further down that stop bank. That's a little bit of a.
Yes, and that's what they want. Yeah,
Because the terrain is there.
that's what we were thinking.
That is separate from the footpath.
Where is the youth rooms that you're talking about, Jean? It's not the ones in Hodaki House?
Yes.
It is?
It is,
Yes.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
wow.
And so, you know, if you fit in there, it really
Yeah,
does.
yeah.
I don't
Oh,
think it's been done.
It really,
So
yeah.
it's going to be done with, in mind that it's a heritage building, eh?
Oh, the interior.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. It's the interior only.
Yeah, we're only painting.
Only
not-
painting.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
okay. Oh, well, you said materials, so I assumed
Just
building
paint
as
and
well.
wood for the derby
Okay, that's cool.
wheels.
Oh, you won't end up bright purple with,
Oh, no, I don't care about paint. It's just when you're touching walls.
but it is overdue. It's
Yeah,
actually,
it is definitely overdue.
yes.
That's me thinking.
Thank you.
That's great.
Anything from Kim?
I've been a bit quiet really, to be fair, but I just mentioned to the team earlier on, I went for a bike ride around and saw all the work that's happening around Takuma Road. And I've been watching it for a number of months now. Absolutely amazing.
Okay.
They're doing such a great job. It's, yeah, really impressive. I don't mind that they're dumping rocks across that shake my house at 6 o'clock in the morning. When you see what they're doing with it, it's just incredible.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. they're-
Oh, well, that's good.
So if you've got
It's always
spare
nice to
5
receive
minutes,
some
go
good
for a
feedback.
drive. I've got some photos.
Oh,
Yeah,
well,
it is very, very impressive. It's a great job.
good.
Very good.
Good to hear.
How about you, Jean?
okay. I've had a meeting with Forest and Bird and Scott Farrelly and Anna Rose up at Waititi Bay regarding planting trees and pest control up there. And they're involving all the community and schools, the Colville School, as many people as they can. They're not asking for any money or anything from council, though council will contribute because in that, like there's some erosion work that needs to be looked at up there, so they're going to try and incorporate the whole thing. So they're just waiting for a report from Hannah Rose as to appropriate trees, etc., and a plan So that's exciting. They're coming to a workshop anyway on the 28th of July here with us to give a complete update. Captain Amodio Road is completed, which we're really thrilled about. The residents of Captain Amodio Road are. It's honestly, it's $1 million job. It started out to be, it could have been a small job, but it turned out to be a massive job because of the delay in starting on it. So it's as good as any highway there now. It won't ever fall apart. So it's a tiny wee road, but it's got this massive, but everybody's thrilled. Colville foreshore there's an issue with stop work up there. And I haven't seen Scotty since he was on his way up to have a look at it.
I spoke to him about it last week. He was waiting for feedback from Ngāti Kamatara.
Yeah.
I don't know if he's received that yet,
Okay.
so I will follow up with him this week.
Yeah, because initially it was because they said, no, we objected to that toilet going in a long time ago. Well, of course,
Yeah, they got the two
toilet.
sites mixed up.
Yes, yeah.
Luckily, we had taken notes and photographs of the site meeting.
Yes.
That we did have one of their reps there.
Yeah.
So they're just obviously assessing that stuff that was sent through.
But everybody in Colville was so excited about it, and we've been wanting something done up there for a long time. The rocks put there and that car park, etc. And yeah, it's a real pity if it stops because the rocks are there.
Yeah, exactly. I think it's nearly finished, really, isn't it?
It is.
So,
it is. So
I'll follow up with Scott about that.
Like, Colville Hall getting an upgrade. Bubbles, you know about that. So I went to a meeting about the Colville Hall being upgraded, and so they're pursuing a funding application to do that.
The Provincial Growth Fund.
Yeah.
And this community board provided a letter of support for that.
Yeah, thank you, community board. I don't quite know about it, but yeah, it was.
It's easy to do, Jan.
Yeah. And we had a meeting about the internet, and John, you know about this, don't you? Golf internet, which feeds Tikuma, Waiuna Bay, Papaaraha, Colville, Port Charles, Ototo Bay, etc. And it's just a shocking service, but it's the only service we can get up there, Wi-Fi, etc. But it's been pretty bad, so we're now investigating. And
I've been working with the rural connectivity
last
group.
night, yes, but your name was brought up.
Yeah,
John.
and we're hopeful that shortly things are going to improve a heck of a lot for you guys up there and the Tikuma residents up.
Yes.
Who actually just amazing live there, but just cannot pick up a signal, not even on their landlines. Their landlines are useless as well.
Yeah.
And they're elderly and they require phone contact. So and rural connectivity group are really positive.
Yeah, so it's about being connected.
Yeah, it's all going to be 5G. And
no, it's not. And the other one was there's an issue coming up at regarding Harriet Kings Road. They're very happy with what's happening. Like they've started the board, the works, etc. That's what I want to be talking with Bruce about. But there is quite a big issue arising around Harriet Kings Road.
Yeah, I've seen correspondence.
Yeah.
I think they're dealing with Steve Bremner, project manager.
Arising. Problems arising out there. I thought we just about finished that.
Well, it's nothing to do with the road works.
Yeah.
It's separate. Like the residents are very happy with the road works.
It's more about boundaries and whatnot.
About boundaries.
Okay. Yeah, they were very lucky to get those road works up there. Man.
Well, it was necessary And it's, you know, it's one of the unmaintained roads that's been unmaintained for many years. And so, yeah, no, they feel really pleased that it's.
Yeah, right.
We'll talk to Bruce about that.
Yeah.
So that's me.
I think Jan's been very modest, because what happened on Saturday night, Jan?
Oh,
What happened?
Jan was awarded by the patron from Northern Region St John's for a 30-year service medal. 30 years on the front line.
no, that was Sue that was 30 years.
Oh.
Yeah, I was 12 years.
Oh, sorry, I got that.
12 years is still a bloody good effort, girl.
Yeah.
12 years. Thank you, Jan. For me, I just wanted to update the group on what's happening with Coromandel 200. We're all on track. Everything is underway. Bubbles and I went up and saw the artwork during the week, and it's progressing very well. Just needs finishing off now. And we've had notification from the Royal New Zealand Navy that they're interested in sending a flag party to come along and present. We've engaged with iwi, so we're it's all on board, on track. Yeah, ticking along nicely. 3 months to go for that.
So if you wish to purchase your ball tickets, you get those from the information centre.
Are you going, Bubble? Because I see the question asked on Facebook, but I didn't see the reply. I didn't see the reply.
Councillor Morrissey.
And before this deteriorates any further, the only other thing I just wanted to say was the Coromandel Library. As you know, they've been an independent library, but they have aligned with TCDC and are in the process of joining the Kotui system for booking and being able to exchange around the district to get books from elsewhere. So the equipment's installed, they're just waiting for their training.
I haven't seen that, so, but they're still going to be independent?
They're still a voluntary run community library, just accessing the same services that the other libraries can in terms of the system.
That's good.
It's great.
It's fantastic. It's what the town's been wanting for a very long time, so that's great.
And that's all from me. And just going back to that funding thing, I just wondered whether I actually could vote and that would make it all go away, because I'm actually on the St John committee, but I'm not any part of emergency services.
Well,
That's different.
Is it a conflict of interest or something you determine, Peter? And if you can actually say you're not.
I have no influence over the emergency services, so I think that actually we probably could get that over the line and make
That
it go
gives you
away.
3 members.
Yeah.
Bruce is going to fuel.
So I'll just revisit that item again then, which is
Still laying on the table.
So where are we standing on it? We sort of feel that we don't support the resolution.
Well, I think, like what John and I were saying, I think it's not that we don't support it as such, it's just that we were looking at the funding that's available, and given that the groups, all the groups who we were thinking of giving it to, actually have already funding from other sources, and that.
Yeah. It's where you can get best bang for your buck.
Yeah, I hear you. And John, you made the comment it's all or nothing. Is it all or nothing? Can we pick and choose, or is it?
Could, but I'd feel awkward about that. I think it's a policy that you're interfering.
I just wanted to.
Sophie's choice, really, because if you do that,
Don't leave town without me. Are you coming back, are you? Good on you.
So if we were to not support the resolution, would we just receive the request? Leave it at that.
And you decline.
And
You decline to provide a grant from your discretionary budget.
Okay, so I will move that resolution then. That we, number 1, receive the request for funding before date of 16th of June 2020. And number 2, decline a guarantee of a grant to support the community business, Coromandel business community of up to $2,000 from a social development community board discretionary fund.
So are you moving that?
1,600.
I'll second that.
It's 1,600.
Yeah, up to 2,000.
No, you're on the wrong one.
Yeah.
You need to be on item 3.1.
Oh, I'm on Civic Clerk.
Yes.
So this is the one that.
Yeah.
You should be the same.
But it's not. I'm using the online version, but I'll go back to the old-fashioned paper version. So decline to allocate funding of 1,600 from this discretionary fund for the 2021 financial year to provide rent relief for the community groups who occupy council property. So we have a move. I've moved that. John's seconded that. All those in favour, please say aye. Aye. Against? Carried. Thank you. On that note, we move into public.
One moment.